I'll have to be honest with you. First thing I'm going to mention right up front is it's free. I like this service when it's free because, you know, you can tie up a lot of money in different services, and from experience I found out that sometimes you can pay a lot of money and you may not be getting that much out of it.
Good afternoon, welcome to GrainTV. My name's Cody Bills. Today is Wednesday. We had a WASDE report out today. Let's turn over to the quote board and see where we finished off the day. Corn trading down 1.5 cents, soybeans down 17, and wheat in Chicago trading down 4 cents. Let's take a look at what the USDA reported here at 11 o'clock Central Standard Time. We're looking at ending stocks here. Wheat ending stocks were actually revised 10 million bushels higher to 654 million bushels. Corn ending stocks revised lower here, now below 2 billion bushels of carryout to 1.998 billion bushels of carryout. Soybeans here revised lower, sharply lower as a result of export sales being increased. We saw a carryout of 410, which was below analyst expectations here. A lot of producers were thinking, not just producers, excuse me, a lot of traders were thinking this could be a bullish report, but there's a couple reasons why I think we saw selling pressure into these numbers. Let's take a quick look here at corn. First of all, ethanol production was left unchanged. But when you look at ethanol production that was announced earlier on in the trade day today, we saw an increase of 26,000 barrels per day. Ethanol production now 988,000 barrels per day. This is a marketing year high. Very strong ethanol production here this week. Take a look at the slide here of ethanol production. The green lines represents weekly ethanol production. You can see this is a marketing year high. We have seen very strong ethanol pace. Now, the USDA kept their ethanol number the same despite the fact that we have strong pace. Now, I think this has a lot to do with the fact that right now we have very strong ethanol margins, about $3.50 per bushel. However, when you look at the outlook for the margins, especially in an environment where crude oil is now down below $68 per barrel, that could pose a little bit of a threat. That could squeeze the margins, and that may actually reduce some production. So I think the USDA, what they did is left ethanol production here unchanged. That was probably the more conservative move here. Bottom line, when you look at corn, I think when you look at the chart here, let's take a look at the daily chart for corn. You can see here we're underneath $4. I think most likely what we're seeing, we have seen strong basis environment. I think most likely producers are unlikely to be selling too much grain here between now and the end of the year. That should help keep basis strong. That should also help kind of keep prices propped up here. But we look at that $4 mark, that big whole $4 mark now above that March contract. I think if we start to trade up above that, we may get a little bit of an increase in farmer selling here. So right now, my expectations here for price is most likely that we see corn kind of drift sideways toward as we move toward the new year. Let's talk a little bit about soybeans now. What's kind of interesting is we saw ending stocks here revised lower than analysts were expecting. So this you would suspect to be bullish. We saw a very strong increase in export sales. Export sales increased about 40 million bushels. That meant that we saw ending stocks revised lower 40 million bushels. You'd think that would be bullish, but we saw a bearish price action following this report. I think the bottom line is when you look at export sales, we know the export sales were running very hot, well ahead of pace, and we got the biggest export sales revision here that we could really expect. With that being said, we still have 410 million bushels worth of worth of ending stocks here that we have to deal with. That's the largest we've seen since 2006-2007 marketing year. The bottom line here is we still have a lot of soybeans. And when you take a look down south to South America, production is increasing. We saw CONAB report 95.8 million metric ton expectation here for soybeans. That's higher than what we saw the USDA at around 94 million metric tons. USDA did not revise South American production really at all in this WASDE report, but I do think South American production is going to weigh on prices here as we move forward. There's not enough of a problem in the growing season down there to warrant a risk premium. So I look at soybeans here, and I wouldn't be surprised if this was simply a case of kind of buy the rumor, sell the fact. We bought the rumor, the fact that demand was strong. We saw the revision. Now we're looking at ending stocks still at 410 million bushels, still a high number here. I would suspect that we're going to see price action be a little bit pressured here going forward. And let's talk a little bit about wheat here. We did see wheat ending stocks on the global front revised higher. We saw wheat ending stocks domestically revised higher by about 10 million bushels. Basically, we're expecting about 10 million bushels to be imported into the U.S. That is what affected the wheat ending stocks. Bottom line, when I look at wheat here, I think that without any sort of major production threats, and right now I know that we are continuing to monitor Russia and Ukraine for dryness and cold snaps that could affect or create a winter kill scenario, but barring any serious production threats and barring any sort of trade barriers from Russia, which were denied by the deputy prime minister in Russia yesterday. They said that they were not talking about those sort of measures, and that's why we saw some selling pressure in wheat yesterday. But barring any of those threats here, I think wheat is going to be pressured a little bit lower. But of course, those threats are still relevant, and those threats will still be talked about. So we might find some support here as we start to retrace when you look at the fundamentals here for wheat. Other than that, guys, that wraps up today's show. Remember, we have export sales out tomorrow. I'm just going to talk a little bit about expectations for those export sales. Corn expectations between 800 and 1 million metric tons. So 800,000 and 1 million metric tons. Soybeans expectations between 700,000 metric tons and 1 million metric tons. Soy meal between 50 and 200,000 metric tons. And wheat expectations here between 250 and 450,000 metric tons. If you have any questions about what I talked about in regards to this WASDE report, please give the office a call. The number is 877-472-4607. And remember, if you haven't done so already, go ahead, take a demo of our trading platform, see what it's like to watch the reaction to these WASDE reports. It's awfully entertaining here, and especially when you're on the go, being able to do it on your mobile platform, seeing the live quotes change on your mobile platform, very powerful feature. Thanks a lot for tuning in. We'll see you here Thursday for the export sales report.